Oh, yeah, that's good.
Okay. Yeah, this water is good.
Want to try Mahmoud?
What's in it?
Today.
Maybe later. Looks good. It looks good. later. مرة فتواجه أنا لأن ملقبة مش عارفين من الورق.
Give it to your daughter. What? Give it to your daughter. Why? So the birthday. Inshallah, look for a human being, nice, no one. You can't, right?
Okay. Kol ההולך על גחון. This week Parsha is all about the kosher animals. It's remarkable this year. By a lot of years, Parsha Tzav is already Shabbos Hagodol. Shemini, some years is after Pesach already.
Which was Shana Mubarak,
Right.
3 weeks behind.
A lot of times Tzav is Shabbos Hagodol.
Every regular year.
And Shemini is already after Pesach. And now you have Tzav, Shemini, Tazria, Metzoida. Wow. Unbelievable.
We're 2 weeks to Pesach.
Right.
2 weeks.
Acharei Mos is already after Pesach. It's unbelievable. So Parsha Shemini, it feels like the Parsha from after Pesach. So a big list of the kosher and not kosher animals. At the end, it talks about the shkotzim. Where? Shemini.
Yeah.
And we have a big thing here. And the end of everything, it says kol ההולך על גחון, וכol ההולך על ארבע, at kol marbe raglayim. So you have three things. There's ההולך על גחון, ההולך על ארבע, and marbe raglayim. L'chol hasheretz, hasheretz al haaretz, lo yisochlum ki sheketze. You're not allowed to eat it. Al teshaktus nafshesechem l'chol hasheretz, hasheretz lo yitztabelem et meisabam. Don't eat it. Ken yeshem alakechem, v'yiskadishne v'sim kedoshim, ki kvod hashanim v'lestamas nafshesechem l'chol hasheretz haroimes al haaretz. Right. In Europe, it's a big deal in the past decade. Protein, they believe that the little insects is a good source of food. They're very, very into it, right? You were asking me about the snails, right? You remember you were asking me about the snails?
With me?
No, you weren't asking me about farming snails?
No. No.
No? Wasn't you?
I know in Africa they eat everything, like roaches and
In
snails and
You
everything.
didn't ask me about the raising snails for cosmetics and stuff?
No.
No? No? Okay.
China, they eat. I know how to kill snails, but I don't know how to use it for cosmetics. I know which herbs to use for cosmetics.
Oh no. Someone asked me about raising snails. At the park.
Otherwise,
Yeah. But
it says in China
they eat everything that has legs without the table.
everything that moves beside the train
Uh,
or a cow and everything that grows
no,
beside.
but in Europe they're into it now about they to raise a little shrotzim, very little shrotzim, and they say it's because it's not impacting the environment so much, and v'chulu,
And they're rich in protein.
and they're rich in protein,
That's true.
and they're very big into it. It's like a pella, like it's a some shagas. It's like it's a
I saw a sign in the Chinese website that says you have only 15 minutes to eat because if not, it's going to move to the other plate. Yeah, there's people that such a small. No, she was just to think about it.
yeah. But it's a
mice.
yeah. So now I'm telling you, but it became in Europe, it became a big thing to eat shrotzim. Well, used to be the past decade. It used to be a dove moles. It used to be a dove moles. It became a dove. No, not because of a delicacy.
Like in France, they eat frogs. Yeah.
It became the hip thing because you're saving the economy, you're saving the environment, you're saving the trees, you're saving the monkeys, you're saving the hippopotamus, you're saving the glaciers and the polar bears. All you got to do is eat another couple of shirotzim, huh?
We're not saving the Jew.
No, that they're not concerned about. They're not concerned about that at all.
And people are wolves.
Yeah, it's a big market now in Europe. There's a big market raising shrotzim. You know what I'm talking about? No one knows what I'm talking about. They're very big in Europe now.
The one I saw,
They're raising, it's a multi-million-dollar industry today.
Sharks and all this. It's sharks and crocodile.
No.
Yeah. No.
No,
yeah.
Versteht sich to eat.
Say.
But no. In Europe, they're into shrotzim, to eating shrotzim. Anyway.
And they need to
Is it possible to grow kosher shorts?
No.
Mashiach come, he'll allow us.
I'm not sure.
He'll show which ones.
I'm not sure. ההולך Gocha. Yeah, who's gonna want the shrotzim? Who's gonna want the cockroaches? ההולך Gocha. Zenoch. Who is ההולך Gocha? That's a nochash. What does it mean, ההולך Gocha? Loshin Gachon Shekia. The word Gachon is to bend your head. To bend. Yeah.
In Hebrew, when you want to go swimming.
Swimming. Why is it? Because because a person bends his head and then he goes swimming.
You bend over when you swim.
Huh?
You bend over when you swim.
Right. Yeah, that's probably why.
The first time it's Gachon Tilech, but the Nachach.
Oh, we'll talk about it in a second. How did Rashi know that? How did Rashi know that this is Nachash? Because that's what it says in the pasuk Al Gachon Chatelach. That's how Rashi knew. Veloshin Gachon Shchia, bending down. Shehoilach Shoch, his head is bent down, and therefore Neifel Alameyav, he falls on his belly, and that's the way a snake walks.
There's the only one that go on Gachon on his stomach.
On his stomach, yeah.
Only a snake.
Oh,
there's no other one.
There is other ones. That's why Rashi says kol. What's pshat kol hoylech lahavi shel shulin des hadoim aladoim. To call
the shulim is warm.
Also, worms.
They go on the stomach.
They go on the stomach, and also doim aladoim. Dod's doim aladoim. There are things that are doim to shulshulim, and the shulshulim are doim to the nachash.
Families of that.
It's not
worms.
Yeah,
different worms.
All kinds of worms. Doime. They're not mamish doime to the nachash, but they're doime to the shulshul. The shulim is doime to the nachash. Here, pass it over.
What a nice post.
ההולך על הארבע זה אקרוב. ההולך על הארבע זה an akrov.
Our should have akrov. There's so many going on arbe, not only akrov.
No, the Meforshim say from the shrotzim, from the animals that are called shrotzim, only an akrov has 4 legs.
What about
he'll tell you in a second. The Mizrachi. Ashku belaz v'sadoim meladoime. Unfortunately, I forgot to bring next Rashi. Next Rashi brings the third thing, which is marbe raglaim. He said it's a noddle, which is a centipede. Mizrachi says shulshulim hey na teloim aruchim yotzim in haaretz she'en lam layad v'lay regel v'im dem al malakash epushis. Okay. The second thing is Loshin Yavin, whatever it means. Yesh liyoisem medal deraglaim. Ela shel yonim ena mishamshim kolkach. Again, most animals have 4 legs, but we're talking about shrotzim. So Rashi says shrotzim, whatever is in the klal of shrotzim, a akrav taka has exactly 4 legs, not 5, not 3. There is a lot of shrotzim that are doima. They have more, besides the 4 legs, they have more
4 legs, but they don't use it.
But they don't really use it. The ikid is they move around with 4 legs.
Why do you use shilshul in here? Shilshul in Hebrew is diarrhea.
Mr. Ben Yehuda didn't know from Mizrachi, and the Mizrachi didn't know from Mr. Ben Yehuda. Yeah, for sure.
But why they call it shilshul? Shilshul in our language.
Because it looked like when you mishalshel, it looked like a shilshul.
Right.
That's why they keep
Maybe that's the reason. Yeah.
Yes.
L'adayma l'adayma. Exactly. שלא לך גחון שנחות שמייסר שאין ההולכם על גחון ממש, על שיש להם סימונים מהרגליים מעט, על שמסגל גם מהם כנחש, אדם על אדם שלא לך על ארבע שהוא עקרב, והוא מייסר שאין רגליים כל כך ניקול, כן הנודל שנקרא בלושן יובן, whatever, יש מינים שהם מרבים.
Nodal is also
So yeah, a centipede. It's called Adayom. Rashi says centipede. Adayom is called a centipede. Yeah, yeah. Yes, achim shagnim maatim v'ragchoikim kama g'nei yisam ahar v'raglayim shalach itonis adem v'latayim. Okay, let's talk about our Rashi.
Why are they bringing Domer and the Domer? I don't understand. They said every Haya, Behema, that's 4 and 4. It's one category. Everyone got Gachon, it's one category. So the Domer and Domer, they look like they have 4 legs, so they are in the set.
Yeah, we'll talk about this right now.
This is from the Gemara? Right.
The Gemara says it, and the Torah Kohanim says it, and Rashi says it. And Rashi is not beholden to the Torah Kohanim and the Gemara is not beholden to Rashi. We'll talk about in a second that Rashi brings a girsa which is dafka, not like the Gemara. But the first thing is, who told Rashi that Hoylech HaGochen is a Nachash? Obviously, like you said, it says that the Eibishter punished the Nachash. He said Al Gachon Katila. So Rashi knows it's a Nachash. What's the question?
What Rashi explained in Bereshis?
Nothing. In Bereshis, Rashi says nothing. For why? It's that everything in Pashtus. The Torah says it. Because the child knows already. There's already a few pshatim. The Rebbe already explained it. What's the pshat? The Rebbe says you could say one or two pshatim. One is like the Ibn Ezra. The Ibn Ezra says that it says Shem Anor Hashem is Gihon. What's Gihon? Rashi says Ki Yigach Shemenageach v'Hoylech v'Hoyma. That there is 2 rivers. One river goes slowly, tip, tip, a little bit of water, and there's a rushing. You hear a noise. You hear it, it's moving, it's moving. So that's called Gachon. When a snake
is moving.
When a snake moves on the ground, he makes friction on the ground. Yeah. They used to have raglayim. The Eibishter cut off the Eibishter cut it off. And now when he walks, it makes a lot of sound. Yeah. So that's one pshat.
He stood upright like a human?
That's what Rashi says. He used to stand upright. No. And the Eibishter cut off his legs, and now he's on the ground. So the Ibn Ezra says one pshat means that whenever he's on the ground, he's going to make a lot of noise from the friction on the ground. The second pshat is the Targum. The Targum says, Al meyoch tezel. Gachon means your belly, chest. Gachon means belly or chest. Okay, so any one of these pshatim are good and kosher. Rashi doesn't say anything. He doesn't have whatever the Rebbe is going to say. The Rebbe is going to say.
You know what they said in Arabic? Gachon, Josh. What was the same way?
You know, there's an age-old question: if prison is for rehabilitation or as a warning to others to behave. With the snake, this is not rehabilitation because it's for eternity.
Right.
So how can he say I'm sorry and improve himself? He can't.
That was very clear.
But what's the thought process behind it?
Anyway, but now we're just talking the technical shot. What does it mean?
Doesn't seem fair.
Yeah, true. What does it mean?
What?
Nachash is referring to Yetzirah also.
Right.
What do you mean?
That the Yitzhar is called the Nachash HaKadmoni. Just like the first Nachash convinced David to sin, the Yitzhar convinced.
So you say he's like Paro when he was hard, like he's.
I don't know. I'm not saying. I'm not just. He said something, and I'm translating what he said. The technical shot of Gachon Katelach, Rashi is not getting involved because it means going on your belly, whatever it means. Rashi didn't bother to say. Vitnamal over here, Rashi woke up in Pasha Shemini. Oh, what does it mean? Al Gachon Katelach, and he comes up with a very funny pshat. Gachon means it's very complicated. It never brings rayas to Rashi. There's a pasuk in Michi in the Navi Micha says Choyli v'Gachon. And the Mishnah says, and Rashi brings over there that the Mishnah says, Koisel hagoychel l'reshus harabim. It says if your wife is very short and you're tall, bend down and whisper in her ear. So the word gochi means to bend down. So gochoin chatelach means that the nachash has the power to go up, but then he has to bend down, and then when he bends down, he ends up falling to the ground. It's a funny pshat. Now what's a pshat? Gochen shechiyah shahoylech shoch. He bends his head. and then he can't any longer keep his balance, and he falls to the ground. So first of all, in the first place, if you think that's pshat gachon, tell us in Parshas Bereishis. Why are you waiting for Parshas Shemini? And in Parshas Bereishis, nothing bothered you because whatever you learned, like one of the pshatim. So what's mitnamal that you woke up now? And then it's interesting that Rashi says adoima v'doima ladoima. Usually we have a klal in the Gemara in the pshat. When you have a ribuy, you say one thing. You don't say 100 things. Right? That's like even Stam and secular thought when you say a few. Well, how much does a few mean? No, 6, 7, right? What does a few mean? In halacha, few means two. Few means two. You know, and when we have a class in yeshiva, you know, when you have a ribu, you learn one thing. You never learn two things. Tak in the Gemara says, different the Torah it says the doima. The Gemara says v'sadoima l'shilshul, which sounds anything that's doima, but not doima. The Torah Kohanim Taka says esadoima v'adoima l'doima.
What is three times? Doime?
Doima v'doima l'doima. But Taka, it's like, why did Rashi decide to learn it this way? Adoima v'adoima l'doima. Why? And the interesting thing is, in the first two things, Rashi says adoima v'adoima l'doima, and by Nodal he doesn't say anything. Tak and Torah the Gemara says about all three. That's adoima v'adoima, and the Torah Kohanim to adoima l'doima. So what's going on? So the Rebbe says like this. What's bothering Rashi here is Pashut. We obviously know that Rashi said, "ההולך על גחון" means the snake. We must say that. Okay, very nice. It must be a snake. So why couldn't the Torah say Nachash, Akrav? Just say Nachash, Akrav. That's it.
Doesn't say in
Kol, ההולך על גחון. 3 or 4 words. Nachash, 1 word.
There's many
Oh, that's what Rashi is saying.
here talking about numbers.
That's what Rashi is saying. The pasuk could have just said Nachash Akrav. You're not allowed to eat a Nachash and a Akrav. How can my kids get this magazine? And every week, I don't know. It's a funny thing that why Yiddish kids that would be interested in funny foods. A couple of weeks ago, they had this restaurant that started offering Akrav.
They're weird. It's weird.
I know.
It's exotic.
It's exotic. Yeah. Akrav, a soup with vegetables, and you have 2 legs from the akrav sticking out, and it's $20. And no, whatever. They figured out this is an akrav.
Pretend like the story with the.
No. Huh?
More than enough.
Remember the story with the Rambam with the fake.
Yeah. That's something they figured out. So.
Maybe it's the carrot.
So what am I saying is, why is it that the Torah could say you're not allowed to eat a nachash and an akrav? Why is the Torah saying kol ההולך על גחון, kol marbe raglayim, kol ההולך על arba? So Ashi says, let me explain to you something. The Torah is here saying kol that there's something in a snake. What's the thing with a snake? A snake could pick himself up, but he can't stand that way for long. So his head goes down, and then he falls on the ground. Bottom line is, he ends up being flat on the ground. Other animals are not that way. All these other worms, they could never stand up like a nachash. A nachash gets angry, or for whatever reason, a nachash gets like a hebuf. These other worms, they can't do it. But the Torah says, Kol ההולך על גחון, to tell you not only the snake, which is Holech al Gachon, which is Gachon Patela, and anything that's doima. The truth is, even these worms are not exantzen that like a Nachash, because they can't stand up, but because they have a dimyan that they're Holech al Gachon, so they're also to eat. So Rashi said it makes sense that kol means hadoima v'adoima l'doima. The Torah is trying to say anything which is slithering on the ground, it's also to eat. And the same thing in akrav. The Torah said, kol ההולך על ארבע רגליים. So from the shirotzim, the one that uses all 4 feet, for whatever reason, apparently is only an akrav. But the Torah could have said, akrav, you're not allowed to eat an akrav. Kol ההולך על ארבע is to tell you, no, anything which has 4, 5, 6, at kol ma'ad, kol ma'ar beraglayim. Kol marbe raglaim means even a centipede. What's a centipede? That's a French it means 100 legs. 100 legs. So it doesn't have to have 100 legs. It can have 99 legs.
And they eat it.
It doesn't have to have 100 legs. It can have 88 legs. It can have 66 legs. Over here, Rashi doesn't say Adoima v'Adoima l'Adoima because it just what's the about it? It is what it is. By a nochosh, these other things are not mamish like a nochosh. By a akrav, they're not mamish like an akrav. But because they have a dimyan, so we say Adoima v'Adoima l'Adoima. By a nodal, that's what it is.
The word marble raglaim.
No, these are the three things: Hoylech al Gochan, Hoylech al Arba, and Marbe Raglaim. From 4 until 100 legs. From 4 until 100 legs. But the thing is, in the first two, it's a certain tchun, it's a certain animal, it's a nochash and a akrav. We're saying anything which is similar to that. In the third category, a nodal is not. There's no you have that's to have 100 legs, but if you had 90 legs, well, given the zalbazach.
It's interesting that snakes, when they try to scare you, they pick up their head. That's what they do before when they go. They pick up like that.
They pick up, right?
They're putting all their strength into that like moment to try to scare you.
Yeah.
They can't stay like that.
They can't stay.
It's
exactly.
Interesting thought.
So the Rebbe says, what's the lesson of Avodas Hashem? Unbelievable lesson of Avodas Hashem. The Rebbe says that the Frierdiker Rebbe said that the Eibishter made a kindness to a human being. That human beings walk, with their heads up. All the animals, their heads are down. A human being, the Eibishter made, it should be the first thing how a person falls down is when he bends his head down. That's how he falls down. The where is it nicker that a person is starting to bend is in his head. So a human being has to be to be in his head should be in spiritual issues. The head should be in spirituality. The Yetzer Hara comes. The Nachash wants. He wants the human being to fall just like him. Right. He wants that the person's head should first that he says, look here, bend your head a little bit, and look down here, and look a little here, and look a little here, and look a little here, and he tells you where to look. Don't look up.
Okay.
And then the person falls, and that's the whole union of the Yetzer Hara. The Yetzer Hara is he's Holech al Gochan.
He knows what he's doing.
He knows what he's doing.
He knows what you're doing.
Exactly. Everybody's doing. And he wants the people to do the same like him. He wants a person should first bend his head a little bit instead of looking into spirituality.
Well, he does say you should keep your head down and your eyes up to Shemayim. A little bit of a news.
Right. But it says that whenever your kavon is a little misbalbal or whatever, you get a little, you should look straight up.
It gives a new meaning to Zokef Kefufim that we say every morning.
Right, exactly.
When you want to think something, right, you go like this. Automatically.
Right, yeah.
You never go like this and start thinking.
This thing that the Rebbe said that you should learn the Kitzur Shulchan Aruch, but if you don't know how can you do it? So I'm up to the part again from the beginning where it says you can tell the tool by the way you walk.
Right.
Maybe this is like
it's really cool from the Rambam, right?
If a guy either does it one way or the other, he's trying to look too smart or too
right.
small.
No, but the emphasis over there, the Rambam says the person should be walking shouldn't be walking like this, like a balgai. But still, Shulchan Aruch says,
and also older people have to watch their step.
Right,
it's changing in life.
Still, the conceptual thing is that a person, his head is in spirituality.
Right,
that means his head is up.
Like Shmuel said, you're thinking, you look up.
Right, you look up, and the Nachash wants you should look down. So the Gemara, there's a beautiful Gemara. The Gemara says, "Lama nikra rishonim soifrim," that the tzaddikim rishonim they would count every letter in the Torah, and the Gemara says in Kedushin they counted and they counted, and they came up that the vav of a gochin is the middle letter of the Sefer Torah. So there's two pshatim, one from the Mashah and one from the Tzemach Tzedek. The Mashah says, "What's so special that the vav of this vegochin is the middle?" So what does that tell us? So he says, because every word in the Torah is the Eibishter's name. Every word in the Torah is the Eibishter's name. There's no such thing as a word in the Torah that everything is the Eibishter's name. So What does that mean? It's a good question, but that's what the Medrash says. Every word. So even that says gachon, which means a snake. So you should know kol ההולך al gachon. Gachon is the Eibishter. Every word in the Torah is the Eibishter. So when the vav and the begachon, it splits. It tells you don't think that this is a real snake. The kedusha of the Eibishter's name splits the snake. So sein ois nachash. It makes a hefsek. It's the emtza. It splits the nachash. It's mevatel the nachash. Yeah. That it's. But Tzemach Tzedek has a word, which is a beautiful word. Tzemach Tzedek says that in general, a vav means to connect. A vav is always to connect. Vav achib. And he says the vav is the idea of tiferes, which connects chesed and gevura.
Where does chesed and gevura come into gachon?
So what happened? The Torah, there's the right and the left. You're having a Torah, right? A parchment. You must have a Torah. Half of the Torah is on your right, half of the Torah is on your left. The vav is the idea of vav is to connect, and vav is tiferes. Tiferes is the power to connect chesed and gevura, right? To bring it together. So the vav of the gachon connects the two halves of the Torah.
It could have been any word. It'd have to be gachon.
Well, I have a soul point out that it's not the fact.
Well, yeah, you have to have with the chasedus yasedus. You got to know what's the real chasedus and yasedus.
Whatever, but still, it's not the fact. Whatever.
According to what the Semitic is saying, it could have been any word which had a vav in the middle. It didn't have to be gachon in particular.
So why did it have to be gachon by a snake? No, the Mashal says it's called Torah Shema Shakadosh Baruch Hu. I tell you, cut the snake. Tzemach Tzedek says, so the Rebbe says that the Baruch show they're both true. We need to get rid of the snake. We also have to mahapach the snake. It says that when Mashiach will come, the snake is going to become a shamash gadol. The one that grace a shamash at the event. You hear parents, you might lose your job.
And with
that Noach is going to become a shamash gadol.
What I was asking, that it could have been, according to some tzedek, that the vav is in the middle between tiferes and gevura. It could have been any word.
No, say.
How would the Semitic deal with that? That in particular, it's the word gachon. It could have been any word that has a vav in the middle.
Why gachon?
Okay.
Because the snake comes from tzimtzum. So when you connect Yamin and Smoil, it's an unbelievable power, and that gets rid of the nachash, and that's mahap of the nachash to kedusha. The Gemara said the story in the Achlamates and Sanhedrin that there was a min that asked Rabbi Yeshua. He said that he thinks that half of the human being was created by an angel, and half was created by the Rabbanu Shalom. The palga la'ela the hormis, the palga la'sata, whatever. So he told him that Rabbi Yeshua said that can't be, because usually people if two people created something, they don't usually work in sync. So he says, how come when I drink the water, it goes out from the mila to the mata? Usually if two people created something and then you sew it together, it's episagatnish. Yeah, Chinese, exactly. Two parts of one machine created by Chinese company. It's a klepetzach nishtu Zaraya that obviously a lot of the things in the Agadat and the Gemara with Rabbi Shua arguing that these things have a meaning. So the Nachash likes to make a disconnect. The Nachash tries to say that there is a part of the person which is spiritual, but then there is a part of the person which is materialistic, and therefore there's a disconnect.
He did that with Adam and Chava.
He managed. Makes sense. A snake is an animal, and he's saying it's like an animal,
right? So we're saying no. That the Soifrim say that there is a vav which is machaber, the two parts. There's a vav which is machaber, which is the opposite. The Nachash tries to make a hefsek between the elyon and the tachton, and the Torah gives us the vav to be machaber, the elyon and the tachton, to make shalom. They shouldn't be disconnected; they should be connected.
How is it the Moshe Rabbeinu that he wants to stop the mageifa? So he said, make a snake. The Lashon of the Torah.
Everybody look at it.
And everybody look at it and start dying.
Right.
In other words, the snake is the one that want to kill you, and Dafka the snake is the one that make you
Oh,
alive.
that's I forgot.
Boom.
The Rebbe brings that mind there. You have to look up to the Nachash and Nachoshes. So you look to the Shoresh of the Nachash.
And you see that what was it?
Moshe
Yoshiyahu, he banned the
Right, he got
Nachash
rid
and
of
the
it,
Koshes
right.
because he was afraid of becoming a Avodah
Right.
We know also the Nachash eats sand. And we know the human being going to the sand in there.
Was? Say that again?
Every person
Yeah.
going after 120, put you in the grave,
Okay.
put sand.
All right.
What the Nachash eat?
Sand.
Sand.
Yeah.
עפר תאכל כל ימי חייך.
Yeah.
So here he is eating sand, here we're going to sand.
Okay.
So that's the connection.
Eat sand with me.
I see we're at 9:15 and there's a few minutes. So does the Olam want to start learning a little bit in the Agoda Shapesa?
Yeah.
Sure.
So Shloshim Kele Machag. Okay.
No, not that.
I want to start with a beautiful Dvar Torah, which every year I like to go through a couple of Dvar Torahs. The Dvar Torahs that I go through here, Dvar Torahs that I use in my own house. So, okay.
So this you welcome to your house.
Gesundheit. I was with the family. We went. It was last 2 years ago in the summer, and we went on a road trip, and we stopped in Gettysburg. So there's Gettysburg where that was a decisive battle of the North and the South. It's in Pennsylvania. It's the world's largest painting is they have a room. There is a painting of the final war, of the final day in the war in Gettysburg. It's considered the biggest painting. The truth is,
how big is it?
I don't know, but it's big. It's very big. It's well preserved. And then there's a museum. There's a museum. It's interesting. But one thing caught my eye. It's just a silly thing, but something catches your eye. They had the tent of Mr. Robert E. Lee, the general of the Confederacy, and there was a tent. The original tent, his tent, yeah. And in the tent they had a beautiful bed, couch, and a desk. I don't know why it caught my eye. I read English as my child in first grade, reads the Yehidotson, that when you're burning the chametz, that's how quick I read English. But it doesn't matter. It caught my attention because, like, why would he go on war and have such a fancy couch and a bed and a desk? It was really an ornate desk. So I read the whole thing. It said there, Robert Lee was a rich man. Taki was a very, very rich man. But he had mishagas. There was no such thing. Even when he went to battle, he had his men carry. He didn't want to, he slept in his bed. The same bed of his house. He had his bed, he had his dresser, and he had his couch. It didn't matter how fierce the war was and where it was. His men carried his dresser, his bed, and his couch, and it didn't matter if it was for a half a night. He needed it set up in a very neat way, because otherwise the gate machine. I thought to myself, wow, what a goy. I remember there was a Fabrengen from the Rebbe in Parashas Matas Matzah in 1953. The Rebbe said that that's the way a goy is. Look, because a goy, the Friedrich Rebbe said the story that they took out the gun and they threatened him with the gun. So he said, don't threaten me. That's good for a goy that has one world and two gods. But I have two worlds and one God, so don't threaten me. So a goy, the Rebbe said, that wants to be like Rockefeller. Why? He only has one life to live. So he wants to be like Rockefeller. And when he goes around, he has to travel with all material goods in his hand. But if you really, a businessman, when he travels, he doesn't schlep with him his bed and his couch. How do you know he's a gevir? You know he's a gevir. You know the kier. This is how you know. If you could swipe it and they'll take it, then you know he's a gevir. With his fat checkbook, you know he's a gevir. A boy travels in this world, he has to have materialism in his hand. Otherwise, how could he travel? Where's he going? But a yid travels like a gevir. Don't worry, I have a bank. There is a few $1 billion sitting in my account. What do you want? You want something? Here, I'll swipe my card. I have Melech Malchem Malachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu that's taking care of my account. I don't have to walk around with materialism in my hand. So that's the difference. That was the word in the Sichos, the difference of the traveling and life of a Jew and a Goy. So here there's a beautiful kasha that the Rebbe asked in the Agoda. At the end of the Agoda, we thank the Eibishter and we enumerate 15 things the Eibishter did for us. And we say Dayenu, and then we say Alachas Kama Vakama, and we go 15 things that the Eibishter did. Oitzion Mitzrayim, Vasabem Shvatim, Vaharik Berlaheim, Venasalon Esmamoinum, Vakaralon Esayam, Vashikat Serena Batoicha. 8 things that are clear miracles. He took us out of Mitzrayim. Then we count another 7 things that has 0 to do with going out of Mitzrayim. What does it do with the Nasalon Shabbos of going out of Mitzrayim? Kervana Lifnei Asena, Vanalot Besachira. What is the connection of those 7 items? They're beautiful things. Don't get me wrong. Look at the Haggadah and you see a clear thing. In the second kois, we talk about everything of Yetzias Mitzrayim. On the fourth kois, we talk about everything of the Geula Asida. Even the Hallel, we split in half. That's why we can't make a brach on it. But the Tzeiss Yisrael and Mitzrayim, the first 2 pieces, which is about going out of Mitzrayim, we say in the first half, by the second kois, and the rest we say in the second half, which we're talking about the Geula Asida. So what mitnamol here we are wrapping up the Haggadah, which is thanking the Eibishter for taking us out of Mitzrayim, killing the Egyptians, giving us their money, taking us out of Mitzrayim. They should drown.
This is 4 Shabbos.
But then the 8 things are Yetzias Mitzrayim. The other 7 have nothing to do. So the Rebbe says, because the Alter Rebbe asks a question, and the Torah says 42 masos. The Alter Rebbe says, doesn't make sense. There was one masa going out of Mitzrayim. From Ramesses to Sukkos. You see it in the name. Ramesses doesn't sound like a Jewish name. Sukkos, Yerushalayim, Tzfat, Chabad. I mean, they all sound B'nai Barak. They sound very Jewish. They went from Ramses to Sukkos. That was one thing that they went from Mitzrayim to out of Mitzrayim. The other 41 is not Maseh B'nai Yisrael Shiyotzim Eretz Mitzrayim. It was a Masah Midbar. The Alter Rebbe answers no, that there wasn't enough to physically go out of Mitzrayim. They also spiritually have to go out of, cleanse themselves. There was 42 steps until they get Al Yarden Yerechoy. There were 42 steps that they're constantly spiritually going out of the box. Breaking out, Mitzrayim is Loshem Eitzorim Gvulim, breaking out of limitations. They have very strong limitations around them, and there are human beings that have limitations. A human being could do so much, but Nebuch, there are people that have in their head, they have so sad. They have limitations in their own mind. No one's limiting you, but people have in their head a limit of what they could do. They think they're not good enough. They think they can't do it. And therefore, they have a blockage in their head. They're a box. Meitzorim Gvulim. The Yid has to smash the Meitzorim Gvulim. It take 42 masos until you smash all the Meitzorim Gvulim, until you get to Yarden Yerecha. It's all Eila Masa B'nai Yisrael Asher Yotzim Eretz Mitzrayim. Same thing here. When the Yidden went out of Mitzrayim, the Eibishter gave them a whole bunch of things in Kedusha to help them go out of Mitzrayim. The Eibishter gave them Shabbos, and he gave them the Mon, and he gave them Kirvana Lifnei Asina. All these things he gave them to help them have Yetzias Mitzrayim until they come to Eretz Yisrael. The purpose is to have a Beis HaBechira, which is Ashras HaKedusha. It's all part of going out of Mitzrayim. It's not a separate thing. It's all part of going out of Mitzrayim. It's all part of the process of going out of Mitzrayim. This is the way a neshama travels. That's the Maseh B'nai Yisrael. We don't travel like Robert E. Lee. We travel like the Maggid traveled, like the story with the Maggid.
The last time is
Beruchnis Amasa. The after Shikat Serena B'toichoi is Sipik Tzarkeinu B'midbar Boim Shano, V'nosan Lonu Samon, and then V'nosan Lonu Shabbos, and then is V'kirvonu Lefnei Asina, and then V'nosan Lonu Satoira, and then is Ichnisonu L'Beis Eretz Yisrael. And then Ubon Alona is based on Achira L'chapal Kovan Esenu. The Rebbe's answer is just like the Alter Rebbe says, 42 masoas are all Yetzias Mitzrayim. These 7 steps are all Achelik of Yetzias Mitzrayim. So just to throw in two tidbits, the Heilige Toldos Yaakov Yosef Zog, what does it mean Shikot Serena? But there's actually there's three kashas in the 15 things that they're redundant. One of them is the Toldos Yaakov Yosef. He says, what do you mean Shikot Serena b'toicha Sipuk Tzarchen Aboim Shana and Echilonu Samon? So he gave us what we need. So we had the mon. The mon is what we need. He says a moide dikavort. But the Heilige Toldos Yaakov Yosef says. He says that Rashi says that Yirmiyahu Novi took out the mon, which is l'mishmeres, and he said, "What are you complaining? How you can learn Torah? Here is a jar of mon. You see? What do you mean he sold them? Here is a jar of mon. What am I going to do with this mon? I'm going to eat it for supper. Or what am I going to have tomorrow? Because if a yid has bitochen gama, the Eibishter will take care of him. He'll walk out in his backyard and they'll see a pile of mon. It didn't happen yet to me and you because we don't have bitochen. But if you have bitochen gama, walk in the backyard, there'll be direct deposit. You're going to see right away that there's mon in your backyard. You didn't find mon in the backyard, you didn't have bitochen. So the Toldos Yaakov Yosef says, he gave us an extra dose of amunah. Because we had bitochen, the Eibishter gave us a gift. Now you can't. It's not a gift. You have to work on your bitochen. For the 40 years, the Eibishter gave them a gift. They gave them bitochen. They had such strong bitochen, so therefore they got them on. That's a word from the Heilige Toldos Yaakov Yosef. One more word. The Meforshim ask, what do you mean Kirvana lifnei asina v'lo yidasn Torah? It's a Torah. It's the big deal. What does it mean? I came to Arsina and he didn't give the Torah. Cancel, show cancel. Everybody go home. I want my tickets back. What do you mean show cancel? How do you cancel the show? The Eibishter said we're going to give you the Torah. Okay, so the Pashas, the answer is because that's a kishach, the Yidden felt achtus then. That itself is a very big step in Yetzias Mitzrayim. So that's a Pashas. But I saw a beautiful story in the Chabad magazine. They said that in Tovshin Lamed Aleph, it was 1970, 71, they were having hookups coming from the Rebbe's Fabrengen to Eretz Yisrael. There were a few places. No, it was a telephone, and they had a sound speaker. It was a big deal that.
I remember this very well.
Yeah,
as a kid, wake up 4 o'clock in the morning and listen to the
Fabrengen. So in the early times at the hookup, there was a Yud Aleph Nissen Fabrengen. I think it was Lamed Aleph. Mamish back. By the way, till today, it's cute. You go in 70, they still have that office with all those telephones. They were very cool in 1970. Today they're like, it's a piece of history. So it's fascinating if you go
in the hallway,
in the last room.
The last room on the left side.
Yeah. No, if you have a congestion of chasanim, we had a congestion by Mindy's wedding of chasanim, so there was a couple in the other room, so they opened up for us this room. It was just funny. It's like it was wow. You walked into 1970. So what happened was that they made the hookup and Sanish gegangen. So already an hour and a half people are waiting, and people started to think they're going to go home. So the Reb Zusha Volmovsky, the Rebbe called him my partisan. You see him always in the picture standing behind the Rebbe like this, and he said, no, what are you talking about? We came to the Rebbe's Fabrengen. We can't hear. It doesn't matter. We came to Arsinai. A few minutes later,
see how
the hookup started. They were middle of a maimet. Guess what? The Mitzvah they heard that Rebbe saying, so that's also a step. So anyway, to wrap it up, the answer to the kasha. How does it fly in? The Chod is 15 things we thank Hashem for. 8 of them is going out of Mitzrayim, and the other 7 is other nisim. The answer is no. Just like the Alter Rebbe says, the 42 Masohas, we keep on breaking boundaries that we know we're good enough. We could conquer, we break the box, we smash the limitations. Same thing here. The Eibishter gave them after getting Mitzrayim more things. The Kedusha Shabbos, Kevan Lefnei Sinai, Adamon, these are all steps in order to help them to be Yitzis Mitzrayim. They should be Be'emes Abnei Chayim, true free men and women. The Eibishter will help them that we should have true cheres amitis, gula amitis shlema de Mashiach Tzidkenu.
Amen. Things. One, the Sphere Somer that every day that from Pesach to Shavuos they were going Lamalo.
Yeah.
Just what the Alter Rebbe was saying. The other thing is my father once heard from Rosh Soloveitchik that his answer about the that if you brought us to Sinai and give us a Torah is the Gilui Shekhinah. He felt that was unique in history of all of mankind was Gilui Shekhinah, even because we got mitzvahs already in Mara, we got mitzvahs in Mitzrayim, we got mitzvahs from the Avos, but having a one-time Gilui Shekhinah for the whole Flag Israel, that was the Mila.
My hair, beautiful.
And I've said it over to so many people because it's so, to me, it's such a yesod in everything.
I hear it's beautiful.
Yeah.
The Gilui Likutei, not the Torah part of it.
The Gilui is
But Vayera the Shem al Har Sinai.
other